This week's devotion is going to be a little bit different. I'm out traveling for work and I had to fly. So for the next 2 weeks, I don't get to ride unless I go rent a motorcycle. And I'm tempted to do that because I'm only 2 days into this trip and I'm already experiencing withdrawals. I also didn't want to recycle old videos and put it in with the new devotion. Just a pet peeve of my own, I guess. So I'm going to do this devotion in kind of a one-on-one setting and kind of let you see the man behind the handlebars. And also, this is kind of a milestone for me because this is my 10th devotion since I decided to start doing these videos. And I'm kind of proud of that accomplishment. I know I'm not reaching hundreds and hundreds of people, but I mean, if one person is watching this each week, then I'm satisfied that what I'm doing is worth it. What I want to start off talking about today is just think about the people that you ride with. Think about when you first met each other, when you first started riding with one another. You may have noticed that they were a little bit different. Or maybe you noticed that you were different from them. But the connection that you ended up making and the friendship that you ended up building with them, those differences suddenly became complementary aspects of your friendship. And maybe sometimes they even became a source of good-natured teasing. The Baptist bikers. You see me mention them at the end of every video. This is probably the most varied group of people that I have ever had the pleasure of riding with. We have men and women who come from just a completely broad spectrum of different backgrounds and life experiences. Yet the differences that we all share, that's what makes our group a whole. We even have one guy that rides a Goldwing and we still love him, so we're not too picky. If we were all the same though, and we brought the same gifts, the same talents, and maybe even the same shortcomings to the table, then we wouldn't be able to function in the way that we currently do. We are able to see our ministry grow right now, and we're able to see our friendship strengthened, and we've seen the love of Christ spread. But most importantly, our group has played a small yet vital role in seeing God's kingdom grow here on earth. The group of Baptist bikers is comprised of individual members, but each one of those members are members of another body. We are all members of an individual church. There may be a few of us that attend the same church, but as a whole, for the most part, we all attend different churches. These little C churches is what I'd like to refer to them as. They're made up of other members. Those members within that little church, they similarly share the gospel in the same way that the Baptist bikers do. Now, maybe not in the same manner, but they do have a desire to share the gospel. And what happens from that is we reach more and more people, and we're sharing the good news of Jesus, and we're bringing more people to know him each day. Now, these little C churches are members of another body, and that's the church with a big C. This is the collective body of believers that's spread out all across the globe. The difference in the individual people, as well as in the individual churches, is what makes the church so strong and gives us the opportunity to reach more people who don't yet know the love of Christ and the gospel of Christ. Think of it this way. My right hand has 5 fingers, and they each function in a similar yet varied way. Now, if all 5 of these fingers were thumbs, I wouldn't be able to accomplish the same things that I can right now. I would be limited in my abilities. These 5 unique fingers are part of my right hand. My right hand is different from my left hand. My right hand is part of my right arm, and my right arm is different from my left arm. So I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this. What we find is that these connections between all these little individual components are vital to the collective whole. Deep connections with other people is one of the vital components of following Jesus. We form connections with people every day But are we forming these connections in a meaningful way that glorifies God and grows his kingdom? We've often heard of the church being referred to as a family. And I've heard people scoff at this idea because they see struggles within the church and they think that's not representative of Christ's love. But don't you experience friction sometimes within your own personal family? When that happens, do you cut your family off? Do you ignore them, walk away, and never have any contact with them again? Most likely, you probably take a moment to rectify the situation. And when that happens, you strengthen the bond and the love that you share. And I'm guessing that this is what many of us have tried to do in those instances, because family is important and because we love our family. That's how the church is to be to us as well. We must embrace our familial bond for what it truly is, a loving and sometimes difficult bond. But we should never give up on our church family. We should show the same love that we would show our personal family, and we should work things out with one another. Because if we let strife tear us apart, then we're weakening a member of the collective church, and that only harms all of us. In Romans 12, verse 13, Paul writes, "If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all." The key here is the first two words, if possible, because not every connection that we make is going to be the right fit, but we must always, always do our best to show love to one another and to try to live in peace with those around us. If you think about the point of my devotion from 2 weeks ago, sharing the gospel as called to do so by the Great Commission, then you can see how all of this ties together. Just like every single word in the Bible ties together. We're being called to imitate Christ, to love like Christ, to follow Christ, and to be a part of his church. We can't expect everything and everyone to be a cookie cutter replica of who we are or what we expect it to be. We need to see the value in the differences of those around us. We need to celebrate those differences, and we need to find ways to use them to help share God's holy word with others effectively and lovingly. I appreciate everybody who watches these. I really have enjoyed making them, and I hope to continue to do so. I just pray that each of you has a wonderful week, and God bless each of you.